as you all aware, this particular virus scenario has created a completely new situation and a working environment. Yeah. So there, regardless we commonly know or not, the workplace, as you know, when you go into the work with the new customers or even the existing customers, it's going to be a little bit different. Yeah. So you got to make sure that you are aware of what to do, not to do, because if you start to act in the workplace in an unsafe manner, the customer could get very upset. Yeah, it will be risky for you and also risky for the other workers in the workplace. Naturally, that customer going to ask the agency, haven't you told your people not to do these things? So avoid that. We got to make sure that we will tell all the active workers that we're having a couple of these sessions so that everybody can attend on the weekends and so on and so on. So it's our obligation to tell you that these are the things that we should be doing, these are the things we not should be doing, and it's good for you, just like a normal safety. Yeah? Like we do like a normal safety induction for you regarding your health and safety. So this is kind of a health and safety. It has not been regulated yet, but soon it will. So we got to make sure your health and safety is looked after, you know, as an employer. Yeah? And it will be good for the customer and it will be good for you as well. So we're going to go to the first slide, which is we say, I hope that everybody can see the slide, and it say avoid close contact. And you've been practicing this in outside throughout the last few weeks. And so we got to practice this in our workplace as well. So if there was an area that a lot of people work close, you're quite entitled to go up and see your supervisor and say, looks like we don't have enough gap between each person. This may be not safe. Would you be able to look at it, right? So by law, your supervisor, the customer, should be looking at it and work out a solution. Otherwise, they could be up for heavy fines as well. So if you see in an environment that if a customer asks you to work very close to each other, you are entitled to raise your hand and say, I think this is not alongside the guideline. Can I have a bit of a space to do that? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel any feeling bad. Well, if I ask this, somebody going to get upset. Sometimes the customer could be busy or the supervisor could be extremely busy. They forget about it. They know also by the habit because they usually don't have that space. And so you have to remind them. And as an agency worker, you're not doing the wrong thing. And as I said, if somebody get upset, you can always ring us up and say, well, you know, by the guidelines, I wanted to have this space, but the boss in the place said I can't do that. And in that way, we will have a chat to the customer, make sure your interest is kept, right? And the second one here is clean your hands. So you guys are already aware to clean your hands at your home, and the last few weeks, you know, if you go out and come back and wash your hands. And at the workplace, about every 2 hours or so, I don't know exact, it's around like an hour to 2 hours. So every 2 hours or so, you are entitled to, even in every hour, you're entitled to go for a quick break to the, wherever the hand washing area. Some factories will have a hand washing area outside. So in the factory itself, you can quickly go, and you need to wash your hands for about 20 minutes. Yeah? So not 20 minutes, 20 seconds. So it's a little bit of a time. You got to put the soap. Soap seems to be the best, according to the media, that soap kills this germ better than anything else, really. So you got to make sure you use the soap and the clean water. And when you close the tap, the close in a way that you can rinse off your hand afterwards as well. And then wipe your hands with the paper towels rather than sharing a cloth or anything like that. So every hour or so that you're entitled to say to your supervisor, I need to go and wash my hands. I don't think they're going to say no to you. And it's good for you, and it's good for their workers, and it's good for the working premises as well. As I say, don't be shy. You are entitled to ask, look, I need to wash my hands, and they will be more than happy that you're asking that the right question, because it shows that you are aware of your safety and you are aware of everybody's else safety. And they will have a signage as well reminding the same thing. So follow the signage as well. So we want you guys to wash your hands and normally about once every hour, if not at least every second hour. Wash your hands for like 20 seconds and dry it with paper towels, and make sure that you throw those paper towels into the closed bin. They should supply that as well. So do it very safely, because if you're safe, it's good for you and it's good for your family and it's good for their agency and for their customer as well, right? Now, the other very important thing, sometime when you get up in the morning, you may have like a throat pain or a little bit of a itchiness in your throat, or you feel like you got a bit of a flu. And you might normally in a normal day think, I'll be fine, I'm okay, I'll go to work, I'm tough, I'm fit. But in this kind of a scenario for the next couple of months at least, and if you feel like any sickness, especially in your breathing kind of a system, that it's good for you to take a day off, right? Because for the reason you don't want to take the risk. Because if you're having any symptoms and you go in, it not only that, the rest of the people will look at you in a way, if you're feeling sick, if you're looking sick, why you came to work. So it'll be very awkward scenario. You're coughing. You might know that you haven't got coronavirus, but rest of the people don't. So don't create that scenario, even it's money for a day, but doing it a safe way is really good for you and for the rest of the work, the scenario. So if you're feeling sick, nobody going to get upset. Just ring the customer and say that you are not feeling well, you are not coming in, and then get the medical advice accordingly. And you can let the agency know as well. Look, okay, I'm not feeling the best. I'm feeling like a little bit sick. I don't want to go in today. You're doing the right thing by the whole community. Yeah. So the next one, and that you're probably already aware this one. And while you're at the workplace, don't touch your face and especially your breathing area like a nose and a mouth, because as you know scientifically, the way this germ, this virus getting into you through your breathing system. So if you've been touching things and touch your nose or face, there's a very high chance that if you had it in your hand and going through your nose to the mouth will be the main way to get it. So you already know these things, but by law we should tell you this. So we want to tell you this. So in that way, nobody can say that we never told you that. So as an agency, we're doing the right thing, way out of our way as well, creating these online meetings and things like that. But we want to do the right thing. It's not a hard thing to. It's good to be safe than sorry. So we want to do everything possible to get the jobs in. Not only that, we can tell to our customers, all our workers are safety inducted regarding the COVID-19. So customers will feel comfortable bringing the agency staff in because they've been inducted well, right? So also, when you are coughing at the workplace and you need to cover your mouth, they usually with a tissue or a handkerchief or something. If not, from your elbow, with your shirt or the, whatever the clothes you're wearing. So you kind of cough into your clothes or to your elbow, usually elbow, covered with clothes, but even not. So the idea is the droplets coming from your nose or mouth is not being thrown out into the air or the person working next to you. Yeah. So that's also try to go away from the crowd, away from the rest of the workers as away as possible, and then cough and sneeze where possible. Yep. So also the general working area. Most of the workplaces will have cleaners, and we're trying to market that one as well. They should have a regular cleaners cleaning the places, your desk or a working area. And if not, you're entitled to ask the boss, look, if you give me the spray, I'll wipe myself, and the area where I'm working, I will clean it up myself. I don't think any boss or any supervisor are going to get upset about that. If you're doing a pick and pack, you might have a little desk, you're doing a pick and pack. So it's not a bad practice to every 2 hours or so, give a nice wipe up. If they don't have the cleaners doing that, do it yourself and use like a clean paper to wipe it with the soapy kind of a sprays, or the eucalyptus kind of like an antibacterial kind of a thing. and they use those hand sanitizers. I think they will have the hand sanitizers in most of the workplaces. If not, you're entitled to ask that, do you have a hand sanitizer station in this work? Yeah. Now, some of the customers, not all customers, may want you to wear a face mask and gloves. So at that time, you can't refuse that because that customer could get fined in certain industries, especially like if they're preparing food and that. It would be definitely a goer. You will have to wear a mask and you will have to wear gloves, right? And you can't say no to them. So we got to make sure as agency that if we were sent into this job, and you need to be prepared to wear the gloves and you can't refuse it. A bit silly to refuse anyway. It's for your own safety, for your family as well. And so when you throwing your tissues or the hand gloves or the mask, if it's a throwaway mask, and the customer should have the proper bins. Normally, these are the bins that can be closed and away from the normal working area, a little bit far from the main area. And so at the end of the day or after you use the paper towels and so on, you make sure that you put into that bin, and which is usually covered. In that way, it doesn't get blown out here and the other people are not going to touch it because it's a good practice. Yeah? Now also, when you go home, and I do it myself as well, and they take all your clothes that you worn for the work, and put into somewhere, including your shoes, and then have a good shower before you go up and say hello to your children and wife and so on, because otherwise, lovingly, you're going to pass this virus to your. Normally, a lot of the people after working day, when they go home, they have a shower anyway, just to get rid of the sweat in the body. So it's a good practice. If you don't start doing that, so after the working day, go home and have a really good shower. And make sure that you put soap on your body. In that way, if it's in your body, it will die, and including your hair as well. And so I have after a shower that they put new clothes on and new the shoes or slippers or something like that. Especially before you go say hello to your elderly parents or your children or their wife, because you're going out and the workplace, and if it is in the community, it's very easy for you to bring it at home. Yeah, so you will be the one who brought it to home, and you will be feeling very guilty if that happens. Look, the numbers are very low in Victoria throughout the whole Australia, but we want to keep it that way, because more we do this, the quicker the the economy will start to the work, right? The more the economy will start, and more work it's going to be. So naturally we will have more jobs to give it to you. So if you, as I said before, if you have any symptoms, you already know the symptoms, like things like cough, runny nose, and like a headaches, and especially in the breathing system. And there are 1-300 numbers in the media. You can just ring that 1-300 number. They will tell you exactly what to do. They will ask you to come in and stay in the car. They will do the test and so on and so on. It's no shame getting tested. Two of my friends got it tested voluntarily because they're working in a workplace and they were feeling like a bit of a cold, and they decided to go up and get the testing done. It's free for you. You don't have to pay anything. Whether you are a student or a temporary resident or a permanent resident or a citizen, you all entitled to get it tested at free of charge. I think it's soccer. You go there and it's a very quick process from what I know, right? And also, if anybody else is not practicing the safe, like imagine for safety, and if a few people are gathering together, shaking hands and giving hugs and all that kind of a thing, and you're entitled to go up and tell your supervisor that other people are not practicing the proper hygienic work conditions, and because it doesn't matter, you're doing everything right. If the rest of your people are not doing it right, the outcome is still very bad, because one person doing everything right, but 10 people doing everything wrong, and they're going to have the virus coming through, and eventually it'll be through the whole workplace, and it will shut down the whole workplace. You've seen that meat place and things like that. 1 or 2 people will have it, and the whole workplace will be shut down. That means no work for all the rest of the people too. So we don't want to have that scenario. That's not good for us as agents. It's not good for you. And once it's shut down, they might be shut down for 2-3 weeks. That means, you know, if you are working there casually, got no money coming in, no income, and there's no work. And so we don't want that to happen either. Yep. So there's a lot of, you know, the guidelines from the government websites. Use the official websites rather than the Facebook things. People, everybody got a theory about how to do things safely, but there are government websites that proper medical advice based on the proper scientific advice. So use the government websites, and they usually got the more accurate information, up-to-date information, and the correct way to go about it, right? So that is the presentation at the moment.